Welcome to Hustle and Flow with Heather Hubbard. You're listening to a special Fearless Leader bonus episode. Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard, and I was a litigator, partner, and practice group leader at an AmLaw 200 firm. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your personal life. So how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you embrace your ambition without selling your soul? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Welcome back. I am your host, Heather Hubbard, and we are back again today with our very last bonus episode on our Fearless Leader series. And today we are featuring Dr. Yashika Dooley. Yashika, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So technically, we've already done a little bit on Hustle and Flow together because we released, back when I was on my podcast sabbatical, the bonus episode where I was on your podcast, Fierce Freedom Awaits. So we'll put that in the show notes. For those of you that did not get to hear that, you can go back and listen and hear about our conversation related to mostly goal setting. But nice to have you on the podcast where we can actually have a conversation.
Yes, it's going to be awesome.
Yay. All right. So I met you through, this is similar to the bonus episode we had last week with Heather Chauvin. And that is that the three of us, we all met through a mastermind ourselves. We were participating in Selena Sue's mastermind and just really hit it off. So why don't you, well, first off, for those of you, we should probably tee up what it is that you do. So Dr. Dooley is indeed a doctor. She's an OBGYN, and she has a full-time practice as well as is a podcast host, and does coaching on the side for other women physicians. And she is hosting this month the first ever conference for physicians, women of color. So lots going on.
Absolutely.
Why did you decide to join a mastermind this year for the first time?
I really wanted to test my boundaries and really try new things. It's so easy when you work in one particular industry that's all you see, and that's what you just assume is the norm, and that's what everybody does. So, I work in a hospital, all I see are doctors. We all do things one set way because that's how we were trained, and you kind of stick to this set algorithm and you only see success in one way. But I talked to other people, and I knew that wasn't true. And it's sometimes hard when you were so used to thinking in one set way to expand your mind and think about what else might be possible or other ways to do things and be really successful. And sometimes that's the only way to reach that next level. And so I wanted to be able to work one-on-one with amazing women and other entrepreneurs in other fields and see how were they doing their business differently? How were they being able to get these amazing results in a new way? And also really to be able to test what were all of my assumptions in life. And, we all have those assumptions. So I just felt like this is the best way to do that. Because a lot of times you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to a course, but actually talking to people and hearing both their wins and their losses and what they tried and what worked and how it worked, and really getting into the nitty gritty and being able to make that relationship. Those were the things that I really was yearning.
So let me ask you this, because you were bringing up, you're always seeing the same thing. And I think this happens in all professions. It definitely happens with lawyers, and I'm sure with others as well, where we definitely see the same thing over and over. We think there's only one formula. There's only one way to reach success. Because we're expanding the 2020 experience to women other than lawyers, it's been interesting. I've been getting great feedback where some are really excited about that, and others who are a little concerned that they want it just to be lawyers. So I suspect that could be the same with physicians as well. One of the things I love about masterminds that I participate in is the diversity of businesses and backgrounds and ideas. How has that, because you mentioned that as well, how did that play out for you this last year, being able to be around people other than just doctors to help you with what you were trying to achieve?
So it really was everything. Talking to other entrepreneurs and hearing all of the things that I was missing out on really said, you know what, Shika, you are doing it small. Like in my mind, I told myself, oh my God, you're doing great things. You're really making steps forward. But really, when I looked at it and was looking at what other people were doing, I was like, I'm still kind of playing it small. I'm fooling myself. I'm saying one thing, but I'm not really doing as much as I could. I'm not stepping out of my comfort zone, which is part of the reason why I started with just doctors. It was easy. It was natural. I mean, I was a doctor. I didn't have to really stretch myself. And I'm like, I am playing it small. And so just being in that mastermind, I mean, within 6 months of being in that mastermind, I decided to do a whole friggin' conference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, within 6 weeks of being in that mastermind, I started my podcast. So all of the things that I had been talking about doing, it just accelerated it. It put it on hyperdrive because now I had all of these people that I could go to, and I had no reason not to just get out and do it. I couldn't be like, well, let me research this a little bit more. Well, let me think about it. Like at our first mastermind retreat, I talked to 4 other people who were doing podcasts, and they basically were like, do this, do this, don't do this, don't worry about this. Just do this and you'll be fine. And like literally, it's so true. And so I think just being able to talk to people, just being able to hear that, like, okay, I'm like, I have no other excuse. What's my excuse now? I have none. Just do it.
Right. Right. And I think sometimes we get so in our head that like when we are in a certain profession or industry that we are special and others don't understand us, and we're not that special. Exactly.
Special snowflakes. We're not special snowflakes.
All right. So because we were in the mastermind together and really hit it off, you came in January to my annual mastermind that I host, to our January retreat. So you were a bit of a fly on the wall there, and you totally are now part of our crew. But what was that like for you? Like, what did you see as the positives of the type of mastermind communities that I do build?
I think it really shows that in-person connection is so crucial, and it just brings a whole other level of learning to the whole complex process. So many times people are like, well, I'm just going to read a book, or well, I'm just going to like buy this online course. And those are great. I think that's a great starting point. But really being in a mastermind, being able to develop those deep connections that then go beyond the mastermind, like this, like we started out as a mastermind, but now we're good friends, and we are now doing other entrepreneurial ventures together. So that's also what people need to know. But that doesn't come from you just being on a Facebook group or just being in, some kind of course. You really need to be able to be with those people, make those connections, and just have those conversations. And in that, you find the deeper connections. And that's where you want to be, because all of that is what's going to take you and your business to the next level. There's no other way to do it. You've got to be engaged.
Yeah. And don't you think, you met the women that are in the current annual mastermind. They just show up with such vulnerability and share in a way that everyone just immediately bonds. That was the first time that group had met.
Yes. And I think the bonding is so key. Being able to be vulnerable in a way that you don't always feel comfortable doing at your job or, at your house or with your other friends. But there you start developing that relationship and knowing that you're going to be with these women for a prolonged period of time, then you just are building and growing on that. And that's a special thing.
Yes. So share with everyone why you decided to say yes to be a facilitator in the 2020 experience.
Again, it is for me to step outside of my comfort zone. I love working with you. And for me, it's also a learning experience. I felt like, everybody does things a little bit different, but being able to be in it, but also kind of peeking behind the scenes gives you a special view. Also, I wanted to be able to work with women that were ready to do some radical things. I think anytime you're surrounding yourself with women that are ready to take their life to the next level, take their business to the next level, it's inspirational for you too. It gives you that edge to be like, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep going. I have these amazing women in my pod or in my retreat that are doing these awesome things. Everybody's busy. Everybody has lots going on, but they're still finding time to make strides in their business. And so that also gives me energy and gives me the fire to keep pushing and lets me know, like, you just can't make excuses.
Well, I was going to say, so you do all the things, right? So you have a full-time practice,
Yes.
You have the podcast, you do coaching, you are doing this conference, you're going to be helping with the facilitation, you participate in masterminds, you've got children, small children.
Yes.
So for those out there who really want to do things, but are truly, right, we hear the excuses all the time. I don't have time, or this isn't the right time. And sometimes it's not, but it's not the right time only if it's not on your heart, right? Like if it's
Exactly.
if it's on your heart,
It's time.
it's time. I think you're a perfect example of that, right? Like,
yes. I tell people it really is about what is most important. And so first you have to decide, what is it that I want most? And if you want it most, you have to dedicate time to that. So just like, if you say you want to have a great relationship with your partner, you want to have a great relationship with your kids, if you want to lose weight, but if you're not dedicating time to those things, then do you really want it? Like, right. Who are you fooling? Right. And there are things that I say no to because I'm like, these 5 or 10 things are the things that I am prioritizing right now. And so I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I don't spend a lot of time doing all of these menial tasks. I am not always in my email. I'm not always doing things that are not going to move the needle for me because I have clear goals. And so I block my time to accomplish those goals. And all of that other stuff is set aside. And so that is the way you do it. I mean, if it's important, you make it happen. Otherwise, it's not important. Don't lie to yourself.
Right. And you're not just a hustler. You're also into Major Flow. You totally, I see you as someone who is very, very health and well-being. I mean, maybe that goes with being a physician, but health and well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally is really important to you.
Absolutely.
And my guess is that's part of what allows you to focus and hustle.
Yeah. I feel like, especially for women, I deal with lots of perimenopausal and postmenopausal women, and they just feel like the world is ending and, their body is out of control. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you are in control, but you have to know that you're in control and take those steps. And so that's every day what I'm coaching my patients through, and every day what I'm coaching the women in my practice through. But again, it's intentional. Like, you're not just going to wake up and be amazing and want to exercise or want to eat the right things. Like, you have to make those decisions. And so each day I know that the decisions I make, the choices I make are really going to decide what happens next, what happens a month from now, what happens a year from now. And it's all on me. Nobody else is going to do it for me ever. And so if I don't make the choice, it's not going to happen.
But it is so much easier when you're surrounded with a group of women who have those same goals and can help support you when it gets tough.
And that is the great part about it, because just when you feel like I don't want to do it anymore, you know that you have these amazing women that you connect with. You go on a retreat. It gives you a little bit of time and space to focus on your business or whatever is going on. And it just gives you that new surge, that new energy, or even just talking to people, talking it out and saying, I'm having a problem. I'm not sure what's going on. I've tried this, that, and the other. And people, like, you've got your community to be like, hey, did you try this? Hey, I did this and this worked really well. Or, oh, why don't you do this, and this? Like, people are able to view your problem or whatever's going on so objectively because they're not in it. And so they can give you some amazing options that you just hadn't even thought of, because sometimes you're just so into your own issue that you can't step outside and see a new way of thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'm so excited to have you in the group this year, or I guess that's next year, 2020.
Yes.
Who are you looking forward to serving the most? If you could have your just like dream squad in your 2020 experience pod, what's the type of a woman who you would be supporting?
I am supporting the woman that is ready to have radical change. Like, they know that things are not in alignment. They've recognized it, but they're ready to make changes. So they're just like, I am ready to do all the work. They are ready to have a kick-ass year, and they know that they can do it. And so they are just like, it's not just about this one little thing. They realize, like, their relationships are going to overlap with their business, are going to overlap with whatever's going on with their health. And so the woman that I am working with is going to be like, I am revamping my life. I am redesigning what my life looks like and how I'm going to be living it from here on out. And I'm like, we're all in, let's go. And we're working together because I'm doing the same thing. And every day it's an intentional choice. So
yes, my arms are up in the air. I'm like cheering you on, preaching, but you can't see that because we're on a podcast. Yashika, I am so excited to have you part of the group. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this bonus episode. And we probably need to have you back on to do an episode just where we're chatting all about you and what you do and your coaching. So thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who want to join us, you can apply at 2020mastermindexperience.com, and we will have that link in the show notes.
Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome.
For show notes, downloads, and other free resources, And to keep the conversation going, head on over to hustleandflowpodcast.com. See you there.